Hi, and welcome back to Blues Garden. I had a very ambitious schedule this week and did not make it. Sick as a dog, I actually spent 3 days in bed. I don't know what, heavy chest cold, very congested. So I'm doing a quick video, editing this video of my making beach plum. Making beach plum jam. Let's take a quick look and see what I did. This is all over the course of the season, the fall, late August through all of September. I just harvest all of these beach plums, clean them off, remove leaves and some stems, freeze them, and then when it becomes November and I have less gardening to do, I actually take it out and make the jams. So let's take a look. My favorite places to pick were okay. Not a fantastic harvest, but they were a decent harvest. And as I said, I stopped throughout the end of August through the month of September, and I managed to get decent beach plums. Anyone curious? Beach plums are a very tart fruit that typically grows along the east coast near the shore in sandy soil, very close to the ocean. I'm 50 feet away from the ocean. As you're looking at the screen, it's to my right. They grow on sandy soil by the ocean, east coast. When picking, I make sure that I grab some underripe that has more pectin, as well as plenty of ripe, and try and pick out any leaves and stems. Give it a good rinse when I first get it back, and then freeze. Here I am sorting through to make sure that there are no rotted ones, and then I will freeze these. Anything that's trash or leaves and stem, out they go. But sort through them all, clean it up, get rid of as many stems and leaves without going crazy. I'll deal with that during the final. But there we go. Freeze it up and deal with that after the growing season. Now, come November when I'm making, I take all of the frozen stuff out and let it thaw overnight. And then it is time to deal. Beach plums are a stone fruit. They have a pit, a hard pit, similar to a plum. So, into the colander, and I press them, crush them, and grind it down, crush the pulp. Here is the stone fruit itself, little tiny hard pit inside. And crush them down, get as much of the juice and some of the pulp out. That is an important part. It's one of my favorite jams. Beach plum always reminds me of my mom. One of the first things she taught us was making beach plum jam. Probably pasta sauce, but beach plum jam was one of the first jams. Measure things out, and that's important to know how much liquid, because the amount of sugar is equal to the amount of liquid. For me, I think this batch was 6 cups of liquid. Crush that all up and try and get as much of the juice as I could out. 6 cups of liquid, which meant 6 cups of fruit. These pits and some of the pulp, I end up taking, and I'm going to try and experiment. I doubt it'll be successful, but I'm going to take these and put them in something and let them freeze over winter outside in a pot and see if I can get any of these to take. We'll see. Probably should have just used them whole. But as much as I can get, in we go. Cook it down. Now, like I said, 6 cups of liquid, so 6 cups of sugar. I guess that's 5 cups of sugar, 5 cups of liquid then maybe. Pat of butter, and about a similar amount of lime juice, a box of Sure Gel pectin. Let this all cook down, come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, then we're going to do the magic. But so lime juice in, and sorry, it's actually lemon juice. Lemon juice, Sure Gel, and a pat of butter. Bring that to a boil. Bring that to a rolling boil. So what is a rolling boil? If you take a spoon and you stir it and the boil stops, that is not a rolling boil. You stir it while it's boiling and it does not stop boiling, that is a rolling boil. So add the sugar at the rolling boil stage, bring it back up to a rolling boil. Stir it so that the sugar doesn't stick to the bottom, doesn't burn. Get all the jars prepped. Lids, rings, and jars. Once it is at a rolling boil again, you put your timer on for 1 minute after your second rolling boil with the sugar. Then it's done. Off the heat. Take it off the heat. I use a canning funnel, which is something to keep the lids, the rim of the jars clean. Stir the liquid in. Go ahead and fill as many as you can. Fill them up. And then the important part is to make sure you this is a little extra, but that's all right. I had that the first day, first week. Now, you will take and you will make sure you wipe the rims clean, because when you put the lids on and the rings, you want it to seal correctly with no food in the way. Wipe them clean. Lid and ring tighten down. Wipe clean, lid and ring. Wipe clean, lid and ring. That's it. All she wrote. Let them cool for a day or so. And then my last step is adding my labels, because down in my canning room, it starts to get, crowded. I want to make sure I'm grabbing beach plum as opposed to raspberry jam or blueberry jam. I want to make sure I know what I get. So the last thing I do is add labels to everything. That half jar ends up going right into the fridge, and I use that. So like I said, here's the labels. Each one gets a label. Make it all pretty. And there we go. Thanks for watching. This was me making my beach plum jam. A typical harvest, it was not. It was less than normal. But I still got some decent jams out of it. I did not make any beach plum liqueur. That happens. But I use a whole lot more of the jam than I do the liqueur. I have other liqueurs that I made that I use when I'm cooking. or making sauces and whatnot. I appreciate you watching to this point. Thanks, and if you could please give a like, share, and subscribe. That helps me grow, and that helps you grow. Thank you very much.